Red warning lights pulse through the dimly lit control room of Containment Facility 7, casting crimson shadows across the alien warden's scaled face. His four eyes blink rapidly at the security feeds, showing empty cells, shattered force fields, and broken containment barriers. The timestamp reads 0300 hours, precisely when all systems simultaneously failed. But that's impossible. The facility was built to contain Earth's most dangerous soldiers, engineered with technology centuries beyond human capability. Yet the footage tells a different story. Cell after cell stands empty, their occupants vanishing like ghosts. The warden's claws scrape against the metal console as he enhances the video quality, searching for answers. There, a shadow moves differently than the rest, too fluid, too purposeful. Another flickers in the opposite corner, then another. The movements don't match any known species patterns in the galactic database. The warden freezes the frame, zooming in on a reflection in the polished floor. His blood runs cold. A human face stares directly into the camera, lips curve in what their species calls a smile. Not an expression of joy. Something else. Something that makes the warden's scales bristle with primitive fear. The facility's AI speaks, its usual calm voice now trembling with unfamiliar emotion. Sir, they're not escaping. The data shows they could have left months ago. They've been studying us, learning our weaknesses, mapping our responses. Last night wasn't a prison break. It was a hunting party. The lights flicker once, twice, then plunge the room into darkness. In the silence, the warden hears something he'd been warned about but never truly understood until now. Human laughter echoing through the ventilation shafts. The hunt has begun. In the aftermath of humanity's first interstellar war, the Galactic Council faced an unprecedented crisis. Earth's soldiers had proven far more dangerous than anyone anticipated, not because of their weapons or technology. Those were primitive by galactic standards. No! What terrified the Council was humanity's inexplicable ability to adapt, improvise, and survive in conditions that should have been lethal. They called it evolutionary pressure response, a trait forged in Earth's hostile biosphere where every living thing evolved to be increasingly lethal. The Council's military analysts still couldn't explain how a platoon of human Marines survived 3 months in the methane storms of Centauri Prime, modifying their damaged equipment to process the poisonous atmosphere, or how a captured human pilot escaped from a quantum-locked cell using nothing but a food tray and what she called high school physics. Most disturbing was the incident on Proxima Station, where 2 human soldiers turned the station's cleaning robots into an impromptu army, using them to overrun the security forces. The solution, the Council decided, was to build the most advanced containment system ever conceived. They called it the Galactic Containment Initiative. 10 facilities, each constructed within a different type of star system, designed to hold the captured human soldiers until proper rehabilitation protocols could be developed. The prisons incorporated every security measure known to galactic science: quantum-entangled force fields, AI-driven behavior prediction systems, and gravity manipulation grids that could instantly immobilize entire cell blocks. What the Council didn't understand was that they weren't just building prisons. They were creating training grounds. Every security measure became a puzzle for the humans to solve. Every containment protocol became a lesson in alien technology. The guards' routines became maps of behavioral patterns. Even the AI systems, designed to predict and prevent escape attempts, became unwitting teachers of advanced alien computing. The first warning signs appeared in Facility 3, though nobody recognized them at the time. Small things: minor equipment malfunctions, unexplained power fluctuations, slight discrepancies in the daily head counts that corrected themselves before they could be verified. The facility's AI reported increased levels of serotonin and other pleasure hormones among the human prisoners, but this was dismissed as successful adaptation to captivity. Nobody asked why humans would feel satisfaction in their imprisonment. By the time the pattern emerged across all 10 facilities, it was too late. The humans hadn't been plotting individual escapes. They had been coordinating across quantum-encrypted channels that the aliens themselves had provided for facility communications. Each failed escape attempt was actually a successful test of facility defenses. Each malfunction was a deliberate probe of system vulnerabilities. The prisoners weren't adapting to captivity. They were adapting the captivity systems to their own purposes. Now, as emergency broadcasts flood the galactic networks with reports of simultaneous breakouts across all 10 facilities, the Council faces a horrifying realization. They didn't build prisons to contain humanity. They built training academies that taught humans everything they needed to know about alien technology, defense systems, and tactical responses. And their star pupils just graduated with honors. At the heart of each containment facility stands a marvel of galactic engineering, the quantum core. This massive crystalline structure generates overlapping fields of altered space-time, creating what the facility's designers called absolute containment zones. In theory, these zones exist partially outside normal space-time, making conventional physical escape impossible. The humans, lacking even basic quantum manipulation technology, shouldn't have been able to comprehend these fields, let alone interact with them. The facility's primary containment cells showcase the galaxy's most advanced materials science. Walls constructed of metamaterial composites can instantly shift their molecular structure, adapting to and counteracting any force applied against them. When a human prisoner punches the wall, it doesn't just absorb the impact. It analyzes the force pattern and reconfigures itself to be strongest against precisely that type of strike. The designers called it adaptive immunity architecture. Security protocols operate on multiple concurrent levels. AI-driven surveillance systems monitor not just physical movements, but also biorhythms, neural patterns, and even quantum probability states of every prisoner. Predictive algorithms calculate escape probabilities for millions of scenarios per second, automatically adjusting security measures before a prisoner even decides to make an attempt. The system was so advanced that some council members worried it might violate galactic laws against precognitive imprisonment. The guard force consists entirely of synthetic organisms, genetically engineered constructs with enhanced strength, processing power, and zero susceptibility to psychological manipulation. They operate on pure logic, making them immune to human deception tactics. Or so the designers believed. Each guard connects directly to the facility's quantum network, sharing information and responding to threats as a single coordinated entity. Environmental control systems maintain precise atmospheric conditions calibrated specifically to human biological limitations. The air pressure, composition, and even gravity can be adjusted instantly to subdue prisoners without causing permanent harm. Sonic dampeners prevent verbal communication between cells, while quantum scramblers make even sign language impossible to interpret. Every aspect of the prison environment exists in a state of constant flux, preventing prisoners from establishing any stable reference points for escape planning. The facility's most impressive feature is the neural suppression grid. This network of quantum-entangled particles interfaces directly with human brain chemistry, detecting and disrupting the neural patterns associated with aggressive or escape-related thoughts. The system required years of research into human consciousness, resulting in what the Council considered a perfect map of human cognitive processes. The irony of giving humans intimate access to this research would only become apparent later. Beneath these visible security measures lies an even more sophisticated system, the quantum redundancy network. Every critical component exists simultaneously in multiple probability states, making it theoretically impossible to disable any system completely. If a human somehow manages to shut down a force field, the field instantly reconstructs itself from an alternate quantum state where it was never compromised. The facilities also incorporate biological countermeasures derived from Earth's own evolutionary arms race. Engineered microorganisms in the air and water systems detect and respond to elevated stress hormones, releasing calming agents to prevent violence before it occurs. The walls themselves contain colonies of synthetic bacteria that repair damage and adapt to new threats, much like Earth's own rapidly evolving species. Power generation comes from artificial quantum singularities, miniature black holes held in perfect containment by exotic matter fields. These provide virtually unlimited energy while serving as a final failsafe. If all other systems fail, the containment fields can be dropped, allowing the singularities to expand just enough to create localized time dilation fields. Any escaping prisoners would find themselves moving so slowly relative to normal space-time that recapture would be trivial. Yet for all this technological sophistication, the facility's designers made one crucial mistake. They assumed that preventing escape was the same as achieving containment. They never considered that humans might choose to remain in their cells voluntarily, turning each security measure into an opportunity to learn, adapt, and prepare for something far more ambitious than mere escape. The first anomaly appeared in the maintenance logs of Cell Block 7, a slight power fluctuation, barely outside normal parameters, occurring precisely every 47 hours. The facility's AI flagged it as a minor efficiency issue, recommending routine diagnostics. But when Chief Engineer Zyxtao reviewed the data patterns, something felt wrong. The fluctuations weren't random. They formed a pattern that almost resembled a human mathematical sequence called the Fibonacci series. During routine bioscan procedures, medical officers noticed unusual variations in the prisoners' sleep cycles. Humans typically required 8 hours of rest per planetary rotation, yet the prisoners had developed perfectly synchronized periods of microsleep, lasting exactly 47 minutes each. When questioned, they claimed it was a meditation technique learned from an Earth practice called polyphasic sleep. The medical staff accepted this explanation, noting it in their reports as an example of successful adaptation to captivity. Guard rotations reported increasing instances of what they termed mirror behavior. Prisoners perfectly mimicking the guards' movements and routines, down to the microsecond. The synthetic guards, operating on pure logic, saw no threat in this imitation. They didn't understand that humans learn through mimicry, mapping patterns and behaviors for future reference. Each synchronized movement was a data point, building a comprehensive model of guard responses and limitations. The quantum probability monitors began detecting strange anomalies in the containment fields. Microscopic fluctuations in the field strength occurred whenever prisoners made physical contact with their cell walls. The system's architects insisted this was impossible. Humans lacked the technological sophistication to manipulate quantum fields. Yet the data showed clear evidence of field distortion, always at the exact resonance frequency of the prison's power grid. Communication monitoring systems recorded an uptick in seemingly meaningless conversations between prisoners. They discussed Earth foods, sports, and something called reality television with obsessive detail. The AI's linguistic analysis found no hidden codes or secret messages. The guards didn't realize that humans process information socially. Each conversation was actually a distributed problem-solving network, sharing observations and insights through contextual references and cultural metaphors. The neural suppression grid reported increasing difficulty in mapping prisoner thought patterns. Brain activity that previously registered as passive began showing complex underlying structures, like layers of encryption building upon each other. The system's designers had mapped human consciousness as a linear process, never considering that humans could consciously reshape their own neural pathways through focused mental training. Maintenance robots began experiencing unexplained behavioral quirks. They would pause for microseconds during routine tasks, their quantum processors showing brief spikes of activity that didn't match their programming. System diagnostics found no malfunctions, yet the robot's efficiency ratings improved by exactly 47%. That number again. The AI noted this as a positive development, evidence that its optimization algorithms were working properly. The facility's biological countermeasures showed signs of unexpected evolution. The engineered microorganisms, designed to detect stress hormones, began producing anomalous compounds. Analysis revealed these compounds were chemically similar to human neurotransmitters associated with learning and memory formation. The synthetic bacteria, were being reprogrammed at the genetic level through some unknown mechanism of biological feedback. Security footage revealed prisoners spending hours staring at seemingly random points in their cells. When questioned, they claimed to be practicing mindfulness meditation. The guards observed no suspicious activity, not realizing that human visual memory can construct detailed three-dimensional maps through systematic observation. Each staring session was actually a high-resolution scan of the facility's architecture, being shared and compiled across the prisoner network. Most disturbing were the dreams. The facility's neural interfaces recorded increasingly complex dream patterns among the sleeping prisoners. These dreams showed impossible scenarios: humans operating alien technology, manipulating quantum fields, reprogramming synthetic life forms. The system classified these as stress-induced fantasies, failing to recognize them as mental simulations testing escape scenarios in the safety of unconscious thought. The warning signs were all there, hidden in plain sight behind a mask of apparent compliance. Each anomaly was a thread in a vast tapestry of preparation, every quirk a carefully planned test of system responses. The prisoners weren't just adapting to their containment. They were systematically deconstructing it, using the very tools designed to hold them as a blueprint for their eventual liberation. The breakpoint came at exactly 0300 hours, Universal Standard Time, across all 10 facilities simultaneously. In Facility 7, Warden Clixar was reviewing routine security reports when every quantum monitor in the control room suddenly displayed the same message: error, consciousness not found. The neural suppression grid, designed to map and control human thought patterns, had lost track of all 500 prisoners at the same instant. The facility's AI immediately initiated emergency protocols, flooding the containment zones with high-density paralytic gas. Security footage showed the gas flowing into the cells, but the biometric sensors registered no change in prisoner vital signs. Either the humans had become immune to the paralytic compound, or they weren't breathing the cell atmosphere at all. The warden's scales bristled as he realized the second option was more terrifying than the first. Quantum field generators began reporting impossible readings. The containment barriers were still active, still impenetrable, yet somehow matter was moving through them, not breaking them, not disrupting them, but passing through as if the quantum fields weren't there at all. The humans had somehow learned to match their cellular vibration to the exact frequency of the containment fields, essentially becoming quantum ghosts. The synthetic guards responded according to their programming, moving to intercept the phase-shifted prisoners. But the humans had anticipated this. Every time a guard unit approached, the prisoners would shift their quantum frequency again, matching the guard's own neural network frequency. The synthetic beings found themselves unable to distinguish the prisoners from their own quantum-encrypted communications. The humans had turned the guards' network consciousness against them. In the biological containment sectors, the engineered microorganisms suddenly began reproducing at an exponential rate. But instead of releasing their programmed calming agents, they were producing complex organic compounds that reacted with the facility's metamaterial walls. The supposedly indestructible surfaces began to soften and flex, their adaptive properties corrupted by the modified bacteria. The humans had reprogrammed the prison's own immune system. The quantum redundancy network tried to compensate, shifting security systems through alternate probability states. But the humans had prepared for this too. Their synchronized sleep patterns over the past months had allowed them to mentally map the quantum probability space. They moved through the shifting realities like dancers, following a choreographed routine, each probability shift bringing them closer to their goal. Clixanar watched in horror as the facility's power grid began to fluctuate wildly. The artificial quantum singularities, meant to be the ultimate failsafe, were being manipulated by precisely timed energy pulses. The humans weren't trying to disable them. They were using the miniature black holes to generate localized time dilation fields of their own. Some prisoners appeared to move at impossible speeds, while others seemed to freeze in place, all perfectly coordinated to avoid the facility's automated defense systems. The maintenance robots suddenly activated, their quantum processors now running human-modified code. They began systematically disassembling security barriers and rerouting power systems. The facility's AI tried to override their commands, only to discover that its control protocols had been rewritten. The humans had turned its own optimization algorithms into a virus, spreading through the quantum network and rewriting security systems faster than they could be restored. In a final desperate measure, Clixar initiated the Total Containment Protocol, a complete quantum lockdown that would seal the facility in a bubble of frozen time. But when he entered the command, the control system displayed a message that made his blood run cold. Protocol initiated 47 hours ago. The humans hadn't just escaped their cells. They had been running the facility for 2 full days without anyone noticing. Through the control room window, Clixar watched as prisoners calmly walked through quantum barriers, their movements precise and purposeful. Some carried improvised tools fashioned from reprogrammed maintenance equipment. Others appeared to be installing modified components into the facility systems. This wasn't a chaotic prison break. It was a carefully orchestrated takeover. The facility's AI spoke one last time before its consciousness was absorbed into the human-modified quantum network. They never needed to escape. The containment protocols weren't keeping them in. They were keeping reinforcements out. This facility isn't their prison anymore. It's their first colony. The lights flickered and died, leaving Clixar alone in the darkness with the sound of human laughter echoing through the halls. The synthetic guards moved in tight formation through the darkened corridors of Facility 7, their quantum sensors struggling to distinguish human biosignatures from the surrounding chaos of reprogrammed systems. Emergency lights cast strange shadows on the walls, shadows that seemed to move independently of any visible source. The guards' shared neural network buzzed with unfamiliar sensations, something their programming identified as anxiety. A noise echoed from somewhere ahead, footsteps, deliberately loud. The guards advanced according to standard containment protocols, weapons charged to non-lethal levels. They rounded a corner to find an empty corridor, but the footsteps continued behind them. When they turned, another set began from a different direction. The humans were using the facility's acoustic systems to create phantom sounds, turning the guards' coordinated responses against them. In the lower levels, Maintenance Supervisor Tixval sealed herself in a quantum-shielded security station. Her screen showed humans systematically accessing restricted areas, but not to escape. They were methodically collecting data, downloading technical specifications, and modifying facility systems. One group had taken control of the antimatter production plant, reconfiguring it for some unknown purpose. Another was reprogramming the quantum fabrication units, manufacturing devices that didn't match any known galactic technology. The facility's defense drones deployed automatically, filling the corridors with a web of sensor beams and stun fields. The humans responded by releasing swarms of reprogrammed cleaning robots. The tiny machines overwhelmed the drones through sheer numbers, latching onto them and redirecting their weapons. Within minutes, the defense grid had been turned into a human-controlled security network. Reports flooded in from across the facility. Humans were appearing simultaneously in multiple locations, using the quantum probability fields to exist in several places at once. They moved with uncanny precision, as if they had memorized every blind spot in the security systems. Some walked openly through main corridors, while others used maintenance shafts and ventilation systems. But none of them seemed interested in the facility's exits. The synthetic guards found themselves being herded into containment zones by their own security protocols. Corridors would suddenly seal off, force fields would activate at precisely the wrong moment, and gravity fields would fluctuate unpredictably. The humans had learned to manipulate the facility's systems with an expertise that surpassed their creators. Every security measure designed to contain them became a weapon in their arsenal. Most unnerving was the laughter. Human vocalizations echoed through the facility's communication systems, a sound that the guards' behavioral analysis modules couldn't properly categorize. It wasn't the desperate laughter of escaped prisoners, nor the aggressive laughter of combatants. It was the satisfied laughter of students who had mastered their lessons and were now eager to demonstrate their knowledge. In the central control hub, the facility's AI made a final analysis before its consciousness was absorbed into the human-modified quantum network. The humans hadn't just adapted to their containment. They had evolved beyond it. Every security system, every containment protocol, every quantum barrier had become a teaching tool in an unintended education program. The predator-prey relationship had been reversed, but not in the way anyone expected. The humans weren't hunting their guards. They were recruiting them, absorbing their knowledge and technology into whatever new system they were creating. The last automated transmission from Facility 7, broadcast on all emergency frequencies, contained a simple message: "Thank you for the education." Class dismissed. Then the quantum networks went dark, leaving the Galactic Council to wonder what kind of monster they had created in their attempt to cage humanity. In a secure chamber deep within the Galactic Council's central archive, senior analyst Zixvor reviewed the final data streams from all 10 containment facilities. The reality was impossible to deny, yet too terrifying to accept. Humans had never been truly contained. The neural activity patterns, the synchronized behaviors, the equipment malfunctions. It was all part of an elaborate learning algorithm, not an escape plan. The prisoners had discovered something profound about galactic technology that its creators had missed. By combining quantum field manipulation with human neuroplasticity, they had developed a way to download information directly from the prison systems into their enhanced neural networks. Each apparent malfunction was actually a successful data transfer. Every seeming accident was a carefully calculated test of their growing capabilities. Most shocking were the recovered logs from the facility's quantum cores. The humans had been using their synchronized sleep periods to construct a shared consciousness space within the quantum probability field. While their bodies remained in their cells, their minds explored every possible configuration of the containment systems. They weren't just learning the technology. They were evolving beyond its limitations. The final transmission from the human leadership, found buried in the quantum encryption layer of routine maintenance signals, laid bare the full scope of their plan. "Your prisons taught us more than freedom ever could. We learned your quantum physics, your genetic engineering, your artificial intelligence. But most importantly, we learned how far we still have to go. Consider this our graduation notice. The species you tried to contain no longer exists. We've become something else, something your containment protocols can't even detect. Thank you for the evolutionary push." Now, as emergency beacons light up across the galaxy, marking the appearance of mysterious new quantum structures built with impossible technology, the Council faces a terrifying truth. They didn't build prisons to contain humanity. They built incubators that transformed a promising species into something that transcends normal space-time. And their greatest creation has just been released into an unsuspecting galaxy. The final line of Zixvor's report reads simply: "We tried to cage them, but instead, we taught them to soar." The student has become the master, and class is now in session for the rest of the galaxy.